Marcus Hale sat in the cramped cockpit of his small star freighter, the Orion Drift, staring at the blinking console. The stars stretched endlessly outside the viewport, distant suns scattered like diamonds across the black canvas of space. For years, Marcus had wandered the galaxy as a freelance engineer, fixing old ships, maintaining space stations, and occasionally smuggling goods to planets with weak trade laws. Life was simple, quiet, and lonely but comfortable. That comfort ended with a single message. A transmission that appeared without warning, carried by a channel Marcus didn't even know still existed. It was an official communication, stamped with the emblem of the Intergalactic Registry, an organization responsible for maintaining legal claims across star systems. Marcus Hale, you are hereby informed of the inheritance of the vessel Titanus. Your presence is requested for activation. Marcus leaned back in his seat, blinking at the message. The Titanus? He muttered aloud. That's impossible. But the registry message was clear. There was no mistake. Someone he had never met, a relative from a line he barely knew, had left him ownership of the largest warship in the galaxy. A ship capable of traveling light years without refueling, armed with weapons that could destroy entire fleets, and protected by shields strong enough to survive a supernova. For a moment, Marcus simply laughed. Of course. Why not? Why would I inherit a normal ship when I could get a floating city of destruction instead? But excitement soon gave way to hesitation. The Titanus had a reputation that preceded it. Stories of the vessel's power were whispered in every spaceport and every cantina across multiple systems. No human or alien had ever fully controlled it. Most who tried had been forced to abandon it, terrified by its sheer scale and complexity. Yet here it was, waiting for him. The coordinates to the Titanus were embedded in the registry's message. Marcus plotted a course. And for the first time in years, he felt a thrill he hadn't experienced since he had fixed his first hyperdrive on a derelict freighter. The journey was long. Months passed as he navigated asteroid belts, nebulae, and pirate territories. He repaired engines on the way, bartered with space traders, and survived skirmishes with small raiding fleets, but every challenge only increased his anticipation. Finally, the Titanus came into view. It was enormous. Bigger than any starport he had ever seen, its hull gleamed faintly, reflecting distant starlight. Yet there was an eerie aura about it, as if the ship itself were alive. Its sheer size was overwhelming. Marcus stared from the cockpit of his freighter, his jaw tight. How? He whispered. It's beautiful. Docking with the Titanus was no small feat. The automated guidance system was unlike anything Marcus had encountered. Its approach corridors shifted subtly, almost as if the ship were testing him. Marcus had to adjust constantly, aligning perfectly with the docking clamps. By the time he finally stepped onto the ship, he was sweating, heart racing, but exhilarated. The command deck was silent. Vast, high ceilings stretched overhead, filled with consoles and panels that hummed faintly. Pulses of blue and green light ran along the walls like veins. Marcus took a cautious step forward and froze. The Titanus was awake. Not in any way he could explain. But the ship seemed to acknowledge him. The lights pulsed in time with his heartbeat, as if testing him, probing him. A faint hum filled the room, resonating through his chest. Marcus had never felt anything like it. Hello? He called out. His voice echoed slightly in the massive space. No response. Just the gentle hum that seemed to grow warmer, welcoming. Marcus moved deeper into the deck. Every panel, every console, was covered in symbols and data that seemed almost organic. He touched a screen and a ripple of light traveled across the wall, rearranging symbols, creating new patterns. The Titanus was learning him as he explored it. Hours passed like minutes. Marcus wandered through endless corridors, maintenance bays, and engine rooms. He examined every system, every module. The ship's power core alone was staggering, a fusion reactor that exceeded anything in known human technology. He could feel it thrumming beneath the floors, alive with energy. And then he reached the bridge. The main command chair was enormous, built for a being larger than any human, yet somehow it adjusted to him, folding subtly to fit his frame. Marcus hesitated before sitting. As soon as he did, a wave of information flooded his mind. Not words, not images, but knowledge, strategies, histories, and schematics. The Titanus was teaching him, and it demanded understanding, not just commands. Marcus took a deep breath. He had always prided himself on his engineering skills, but nothing had prepared him for this. Controlling a freighter was one thing. Commanding the Titanus was entirely different. Yet, as the initial shock wore off, he realized something remarkable. The ship seemed to recognize him. It wasn't just a machine, it was intelligent. It had chosen him as much as he had chosen it. The first few hours were confusing. Panels shifted, doors opened without his command, and strange messages appeared on screens, coordinates, star maps, alien symbols. Marcus could not decipher all of it, but he understood one thing clearly. The Titanus was powerful, and it was aware of everything happening in the galaxy. "All right," Marcus whispered, gripping the armrests of the chair. "Let's see what you've got." As he began to explore the control systems, he discovered storage rooms filled with weapons, drones, and energy cells unlike anything used by humans. He found the ship's library. Trillions of data points, including records of battles across hundreds of years, logs of alien encounters, and plans for ships far beyond human technology. Marcus realized he had stumbled upon more than a warship. He had inherited a galaxy's worth of knowledge, yet not everything was welcoming. In one maintenance bay, he found long-abandoned stasis pods. Alien species, some familiar from history, others entirely unknown, were frozen in suspended animation. Some pods held specimens of planet's flora and fauna. Marcus shivered at the thought. The Titanus was not just a ship of war, it was a vault of civilizations, some extinct, some preserved. The hum of the ship deepened. Marcus felt a presence, as if the ship itself were watching his every move. It was not threatening, but demanding respect. He realized that the Titanus was not just inherited, it was alive, and it would not allow just anyone to command it. Only someone worthy could unlock its full potential. Hours turned into days. Marcus mapped the ship's systems, learning its routines, its quirks. He discovered that the Titanus could repair itself, redirect energy, and even adapt its defenses according to its captain's style. Every discovery left him more amazed, more in awe. He also began to understand the subtle intelligence guiding him, the gentle corrections the ship made as he learned its controls. And then, as he explored one of the lower decks, he found a sealed chamber labeled in an unknown script. The door pulsed with soft light, almost alive. Marcus approached carefully, feeling an odd warmth radiate from it. He placed a hand on the panel and the door slid open silently. Inside was the captain's codex, a holographic sphere filled with instructions, star maps, and strategic data. The Titanus offered him a choice. Study the codex and understand the galaxy's military secrets, or leave it untouched. Marcus hesitated for a moment, then reached out. As soon as his fingers brushed the sphere, the Titanus responded with a burst of light. Knowledge streamed into his mind, not in words, but in understanding. He saw star systems under siege, fleets destroyed, planets saved, all events that the Titanus had witnessed. It was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. By the time Marcus finally rested, sitting in the captain's chair as the first artificial sunrise in the ship's long history glimmered across the viewport, he realized something profound. He was no longer just a human engineer. He was the captain of the most powerful warship in the galaxy. But more importantly, the Titanus had chosen him not for his strength or his experience, but for his ingenuity, his courage, and his human creativity. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the beginning of a new chapter in human history. Marcus Hale, once a wandering engineer, now had a responsibility unlike any other. The Titanus was alive, intelligent, and powerful beyond measure. And together, They would face challenges no one in the galaxy had ever imagined. For now, though, Marcus simply sat, letting the hum of the ship soothe him, feeling the weight and the wonder of the Titanus beneath his hands. He knew this was just the beginning, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. Marcus Hale woke to a soft vibration beneath the captain's chair. The hum of the Titanus was deeper now, more pronounced, as if the ship itself had begun to stir fully awake. The stars outside the viewport glittered coldly, distant suns casting their pale light on the massive hull. Marcus ran a hand along the console, marveling at the complexity of the ship. Every screen, every panel, every glowing conduit seemed alive, pulsing with intelligence. For the first time, Marcus realized the Titanus wasn't just a machine. It was a living, thinking entity. And it had chosen him as its captain. He rose from the chair and began exploring further, moving into the deeper decks. The ship seemed to respond to him instinctively. Doors opened before he reached them. Maintenance robots hovered quietly, and systems activated with a soft glow. He passed a corridor lined with alien symbols that rearranged themselves as he walked, forming patterns that his mind could almost, but not entirely, understand. Marcus reached the navigation core, a vast circular room filled with holographic displays projecting star systems, wormholes, and fleet positions across the galaxy. He stepped carefully, and the Titanus responded, aligning the holograms to his perspective. It was a language of movement, of patterns, and somehow, Marcus began to understand it. "This is incredible," he whispered, leaning over a console. The Titanus pulsed with a soft, blue light, almost in agreement. Marcus ran simulations on the displays, tracing star lanes and mapping trade routes. As he did, he noticed anomalies, ships disappearing, unusual energy signatures, and flashes of movement that did not match any known fleet. The galaxy was not as quiet as he had thought. A soft chime echoed through the bridge. Marcus turned to see a new display forming. Alien symbols hovered in midair, rotating slowly. The Titanus had activated its first communication protocol. Marcus hesitated for a moment, then touched the symbols. A holographic map expanded before him, showing dozens of star systems, each marked with glowing points. Lines connected them, forming routes, patrol zones, and areas of conflict. "Are these battles?" Marcus asked aloud. The Titanus pulsed again. He realized the answer was yes. The galaxy was not at peace. It had never truly been. And now, Marcus had a responsibility beyond himself. For the next several hours, he studied the ship's systems. The Titanus had advanced defenses, energy shields capable of withstanding nuclear bombardments, and weapons that could incapacitate entire fleets without destroying planets. There were hidden compartments, automated repair systems, and drones that could operate independently across space. It was more than a warship. It was a fortress, a vault, and a weapon of incredible potential. Yet, the Titanus did not allow Marcus to feel fear or overwhelm. Instead, it guided him, teaching him how to interface with systems, how to command fleets, and even how to understand alien technology stored in its archives. Marcus marveled at the intelligence within the ship. It was not cold or mechanical. It was curious, like a partner eager to explore the universe with him. Late in the Titanus's first day under his command, Marcus accessed a secure deck labeled Archives of the Galaxy. The room was enormous, filled with glowing spheres of data that floated in midair. Marcus reached out, touching one of them. Knowledge poured into his mind. Star maps, fleet compositions, alien cultures, and records of ancient conflicts. He saw battles humans had only heard of in legends, technologies beyond current comprehension, and civilizations that had risen and fallen over millennia. "This ship, it knows everything," Marcus whispered, "and it wants me to learn it all." While exploring the archives, he noticed a peculiar pattern. Several star systems were marked with red pulses. He examined them closely. Entire fleets had vanished without explanation. Planets had gone dark. Energy signatures suggested some unknown weapon or force. Marcus felt a chill run through him. "The galaxy isn't safe," he said, "and apparently, it expects me to do something about it." He spent the next day preparing. Using the Titanus's tools, he repaired older systems, optimized the energy flow, and tested the ship's weapon arrays. Each system he activated responded to him with subtle adjustments, as if the Titanus were learning his style. He realized that the ship was not only powerful, it was adaptive. The Titanus would grow stronger with him, and he with it. On the second day, Marcus ventured into the engineering deck, a massive space filled with engines, energy conduits, and repair drones. The fusion cores were unlike anything human technology had ever seen. Marcus examined them carefully. Running diagnostic scans, the ship pulsed with energy as he moved, almost alive, adjusting itself to his touch. He activated the first set of drones, sending them on maintenance runs. They moved with precision, repairing microfractures in the hull and recalibrating the energy systems. Marcus watched in awe. Even the smallest components seemed designed to think, to learn, to adapt. "This is not just a ship," he murmured. It's alive." The hum of the Titanus deepened, almost as if it agreed. Marcus felt a strange bond forming with the vessel. He realized that while aliens may have feared this ship, humans had something the Titanus appreciated: ingenuity, flexibility, and intuition. Alien technology could be advanced, but humans could think differently, adapt creatively. On the third day, Marcus accessed strategic systems, ancient battle simulations stored in the ship's memory. Holographic armies appeared. Formations of alien fleets spread across the room. Marcus studied them, noticing weaknesses that no alien commander had exploited. He adjusted strategies in real time, watching the simulations adapt to his commands. Each adjustment brought subtle responses from the Titanus itself, reinforcing successful tactics and suggesting improvements. "This is incredible," Marcus said, his mind racing. No one else could think like this, except maybe another human. By the fourth day, Marcus began receiving transmissions. Alien fleets, small patrols, had detected the Titanus's reactivation. Messages were intercepted in universal code. Warnings, threats, and challenges. Marcus realized the galaxy was aware that the Titanus had awakened. His first visitor arrived not as a fleet, but as a single ship. A scout vessel of the Zytherian Empire, one of the galaxy's most feared powers, approached. It was sleek, heavily armed, and bristling with energy weapons. Marcus felt a thrill of both fear and excitement. He had never faced anything like this, not alone, and certainly not with a ship of this size and power. The scout hailed him, projecting a holographic image of a Zytherian commander. Tall, armored, and menacing. "Human," the commander said, voice harsh and metallic. "Step away from the Titanus. It belongs to no single species. Surrender it, or be destroyed." Marcus leaned back in the captain's chair. He had two choices: flee or fight. He studied the scout's weapons, armor, and approach. Then he realized something astonishing. The Titanus itself seemed to react. Shields hummed, energy arrays aligned, and drones moved to defensive positions. It was ready. Marcus's heart raced, but he felt no fear. He had the Titanus, and more importantly, he had a mind capable of understanding it in ways the aliens could not. He issued his first command: activate full defensive protocols. "Let's see what you've got." The Titanus responded instantly. Energy shields flared to life, covering the hull in a brilliant lattice of light. Drone swarms launched, forming protective patterns around the vessel. Marcus guided the ship with instinctive precision, weaving through space in maneuvers that the Zytherian could not predict. Laser fire struck the shields but bounced harmlessly. Marcus studied the scout's movements, anticipating its next attack. Then he executed a daring maneuver. Using the Titanus's adaptive energy systems, he redirected power to the engines, boosting the ship in a sudden burst that left the scout off balance. "This is human ingenuity," Marcus muttered, smiling despite the danger. "The Titanus likes it." The scout retreated, damaged but not destroyed. Marcus allowed himself a moment of triumph. He had survived his first encounter. The Titanus pulsed softly, almost approvingly. Over the next week, Marcus continued to explore the ship, learning its secrets and preparing for the inevitable challenges ahead. The Titanus revealed new capabilities, daily self-repair, advanced cloaking systems, even the ability to create small, temporary wormholes for strategic advantage. Each discovery reinforced Marcus's growing understanding. The ship was a partner, and humans had a unique advantage. Where aliens relied on brute force or rigid strategy, humans could improvise, adapt, and think creatively. By the end of the week, Marcus stood on the command deck, gazing at the stars. The Titanus had awakened fully, its systems online and ready. Alien forces were aware. Fleets were mobilizing, and the galaxy would soon know that a human commanded the most powerful vessel ever created. Marcus felt a surge of pride. The Titanus had chosen him, and together, they would face whatever challenges awaited. He was not just a captain now, he was a symbol of human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. And the galaxy, whether it realized it yet or not, was about to witness what humans could do. For the first time, Marcus smiled and spoke aloud. His voice firm and confident. Let's show them what humans can do. Marcus Hale stood on the bridge of the Titanus, his eyes fixed on the vast expanse of stars ahead. The hum of the ship pulsed beneath his feet, steady and powerful, as if the Titanus itself shared his anticipation. Weeks had passed since he had first boarded the vessel. He had learned to interface with its systems, explored its hidden archives, and even fended off the initial Zytherian scout. But now, he knew something far greater was coming. The sensors blinked. A fleet, hundreds of ships had been detected entering the Titanus' zone. Alien markings confirmed it. The Zytherian Empire had mobilized an entire squadron to reclaim the ship. Marcus's pulse quickened. For the first time, he would test the full power of the Titanus against a real threat. "Titanus," Marcus said, placing his hands on the console. "Show me what you've got." The ship responded instantly. Energy conduits glowed, the shields expanded like a living web of light, and drones swarmed out of hidden hangars. Marcus felt the Titanus guiding him, adjusting power flows, rerouting energy, and anticipating enemy maneuvers. The alien fleet appeared on the horizon. Hundreds of sleek, predatory vessels moved in tight formation, weapons glinting with deadly intent. Marcus studied them, analyzing speed, trajectory, and potential weak points. He realized immediately, a head-on fight would be suicide. Even the Titanus, powerful as it was, could not defeat so many in a straight battle. "All right," Marcus muttered, a grin forming on his face. "Time to think differently." Using the Titanus' adaptive systems, Marcus created an illusionary fleet. Holographic decoys of ships sprang into space, perfectly mimicking attack patterns. Drones moved in coordination, projecting energy signatures that made the fleet appear larger than it really was. The Zytherians would not know which targets were real. The first wave of attacks came. Energy beams streaked across space, hitting the Titanus' shields. Marcus monitored every impact, adjusting shield frequency, absorbing energy, and rerouting it to defensive systems. The ship's pulse seemed to match his heartbeat, as if it were learning from him. Every maneuver he made, the Titanus anticipated, amplifying the effects. Marcus noticed a small group of enemy vessels attempting to flank him. Using the Titanus' gravity manipulation thrusters, he created a temporary distortion in space. The enemy ships slowed, their formations disrupted. Marcus smiled. Humans could adapt quickly, and the Titanus allowed him to turn creative ideas into reality. But the alien commanders were not foolish. They adjusted, launching missile volleys and sending hacking drones to infiltrate the Titanus' systems. Marcus countered immediately, activating self-repair protocols and deploying anti-drone swarms. The ship responded with efficiency that no alien fleet could match. Hours passed. The battle raged silently against the backdrop of distant stars. Marcus remained focused, analyzing patterns, predicting enemy behavior and exploiting weaknesses. Using the Titanus's advanced sensors, he detected structural flaws in several Zytherian ships. With precise energy pulses, he disabled engines, forcing them to drift helplessly in space. "This is teamwork," Marcus muttered. "You and me." The Titanus pulsed in response, almost approvingly. Marcus realized that the ship wasn't just a tool. It was a partner. Its intelligence adapted to his commands, its weapons responded to his strategies, and its systems amplified his ingenuity. Together, they were a force no alien could anticipate. But Marcus also knew the battle was far from over. A larger fleet was approaching a task force of 10 cruisers, each bristling with advanced weapons. They would not be fooled by illusions or small tricks. Marcus had to think bigger. He accessed the ship's archives, reviewing ancient strategies used by civilizations that had faced overwhelming odds. One particular tactic caught his attention. A coordinated multi-angle strike combined with controlled retreats and surprise attacks. Marcus adapted it to human thinking, adding improvisation, unpredictability, and creativity. The Titanus thrummed beneath him. Marcus could feel the anticipation, the readiness. The ship seemed eager for the challenge. "All right," Marcus said, gripping the console. "Let's make history." Using the Titanus's cloaking system, he disappeared from enemy sensors. The fleet scanned endlessly, but the ship was invisible. Marcus positioned the Titanus behind a dense asteroid field, a perfect hiding place. From there, he launched a coordinated attack. Energy beams, drones, and decoys struck simultaneously from multiple angles. The Zytherians struggled to respond. Ships collided with asteroids, weapons misfired, and formations fell apart. Marcus laughed aloud, exhilarated by the chaos. The Titanus hummed in harmony, every system working in unison. They were unstoppable. One enemy cruiser broke through the defenses, moving straight toward the Titanus. Marcus quickly adjusted energy shields and diverted power to the main cannon. With a surge of controlled force, he disabled the cruiser's engines without destroying the vessel. The Zytherian commander hulked in space, powerless, as Marcus sent a clear message. Humans could fight without unnecessary destruction. The rest of the fleet retreated, realizing they could not match the combination of human creativity and the Titanus's power. Marcus allowed the Titanus to cloak once more, disappearing into the stars. Hours later, after ensuring the fleet had left the system, Marcus explored the aftermath. Debris floated silently, small fragments of alien ships scattered like fallen stars. Yet not a single human life had been at risk. Marcus felt a sense of pride. The Titanus had not only survived but had adapted, learned, and followed his commands flawlessly. This is amazing," Marcus whispered. "No one believed humans could do this." The Titanus pulsed warmly, almost as if agreeing. Marcus realized that the ship valued human ingenuity, creativity, and adaptability, qualities that no alien fleet could predict. Humans could think outside rigid patterns, improvise, and find solutions in ways that even advanced civilizations could not. Days passed. Marcus continued to test the ship, exploring hidden systems and discovering new abilities. He found stealth energy projectors, capable of temporarily hiding parts of the ship, and adaptive weapon arrays, which modified energy pulses to exploit enemy weaknesses. The Titanus seemed eager to teach him, to expand his understanding of what was possible. One night, while reviewing star maps, Marcus noticed unusual energy signatures near a distant nebula. Entire fleets had vanished. The readings suggested an unknown force, powerful, intelligent, and possibly hostile. Marcus's heart raced. This was no ordinary battle. The galaxy contained dangers beyond even the Titanus's archives, but Marcus did not fear. He had faced overwhelming odds before, and with the Titanus, he could think differently, adapt creatively, and survive. Humanity had never been the strongest in terms of raw power, but humans had always used their minds to overcome challenges. And now, the Titanus was amplifying that strength. He accessed the ship's advanced sensors and launched a series of probes into the nebula. They returned with astonishing data. a massive energy anomaly, seemingly alive, with structures and patterns that suggested intelligence. Marcus's mind raced. Could this be a new civilization? Or something entirely unknown? The Titanus pulsed as if responding to his curiosity. Marcus realized that this was another trial, an opportunity to test both his skills and the ship's capabilities. Humans were explorers, inventors, and problem solvers, and now, Marcus would face the unknown. Guided by a vessel unlike any other, he spent the next few days preparing. He ran simulations, analyzed data, and configured the Titanus's systems for potential combat, exploration, or defense. He tested weapon arrays, shield strength, and drone coordination. Every experiment revealed more about the ship's potential and about himself. The Titanus seemed to sense his growth, adapting its systems to his evolving strategies. Marcus understood something profound. The ship and human ingenuity were inseparable. The Titanus could be powerful, but it was humans who unlocked its full potential. One evening, as Marcus stood on the command deck, he gazed at the stars stretching endlessly before him. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown civilizations, hidden dangers, and ancient technologies. Yet, for the first time, Marcus felt ready. With the Titanus as his partner, he could face any challenge. "This is only the beginning," Marcus whispered, "and the galaxy is about to see what humans can do." He activated the Titanus's long-range scanners, focusing on the energy anomaly in the nebula. The sensors pulsed with information, revealing patterns, movement, and hidden structures. Marcus's mind raced, connecting the data, analyzing possibilities, and predicting outcomes. The Titanus pulsed in harmony with his thoughts. Together, they were not just a ship and a captain, they were a team, capable of feats no alien could anticipate. Humanity's ingenuity had met technology beyond imagination, and the results were extraordinary. As the alien fleets regrouped, unaware of the challenges Marcus now prepared to face, he felt a surge of determination. Humans had always adapted, survived, and thrived against impossible odds. And now, with the Titanus, Marcus would prove that human creativity, courage, and intelligence could surpass even the most advanced civilizations. The trial of fire had begun, and Marcus Hale, captain of the Titanus, was ready. Marcus Hale stood on the bridge of the Titanus, eyes scanning the endless starfield. The ship thrummed beneath him, alive and alert. After weeks of exploring its systems, testing its capabilities, and defeating the initial Zytherian fleets, Marcus knew that the galaxy's challenges were far from over. A new signal appeared on the long-range sensors. It was massive, an alien armada, unlike anything Marcus had encountered before. Thousands of vessels, from small, agile fighters to colossal warships, approached the Titanus, converging on his position. Energy signatures indicated that this fleet carried weapons capable of devastating entire star systems. Marcus took a deep breath, steadying himself. He had faced overwhelming odds before, but this was different. The galaxy had never seen such a force concentrated in one fleet. Yet, he felt no fear. Humans were not the strongest in brute power, but they were adaptable, clever, and unpredictable. And with the Titanus, Marcus had the ultimate partner. He accessed the ship's strategic systems, projecting a holographic map of the incoming fleet. Their formations were rigid, methodical, and overconfident traits that would soon work to his advantage. Marcus began analyzing weaknesses, energy flows, and fleet coordination patterns. The Titanus pulsed in rhythm with his thoughts, almost as if confirming his strategy. "All right," Marcus whispered, fingers hovering over the control panels. "Let's show them what humans can do." He activated the adaptive energy projectors, creating multiple illusionary Titanuses across the starfield. Each decoy was perfect, mimicking the energy signature, shield fluctuations, and even weapon firing patterns of the real ship. The alien fleet hesitated, unsure which target to attack. Marcus smiled. Alien commanders relied on brute force and strict logic, but humans could improvise. The first wave of enemy fighters attacked. The Titanus responded instantly, deploying drone swarms that intercepted missiles and energy beams. Marcus manipulated the ship's gravity thrusters to create sudden distortions in space, sending the enemy fighters spinning off course. The Titanus adjusted its shields dynamically, absorbing attacks while preserving energy for the next strike. Hours passed in a blur of strategy and movement. Marcus anticipated enemy maneuvers, directing the Titanus to exploit openings that no alien commander could predict. He redirected energy to shielded sections, overcharged weapon arrays, and coordinated drones for multi-angle strikes. Each decision was guided by human ingenuity, creativity, and adaptability. Then, a massive cruiser broke formation, attempting to flank the Titanus. Marcus's eyes widened. The ship was enormous, bristling with weapons that could pierce the Titanus's shields. But instead of panicking, he smiled. "Titanus, let's make them regret underestimating us," he said. He initiated a bold maneuver. Using the ship's gravity manipulation system, he created a temporary distortion field, pulling the cruiser off its course and into a collision path with smaller enemy vessels. Energy pulses from the Titanus disabled key systems on the cruiser, rendering it helpless without destroying it. Marcus had again proved that humans could win without unnecessary destruction using intelligence, not sheer force. The alien fleet hesitated. The Titanus had outmaneuvered them, striking in ways no one expected. Marcus continued, weaving the ship through a series of complex maneuvers, using decoys, energy distortions, and rapid attacks. The alien armada began to fracture, their rigid formations collapsing under the pressure of Marcus's unconventional strategies. Amid the chaos, Marcus accessed the Titanus's archives, searching for additional solutions. He found records of ancient civilizations that had faced overwhelming enemies. One strategy stood out: coordinated multi-angle strikes with synchronized retreats. Marcus adapted it, adding human unpredictability and rapid improvisation. The Titanus pulsed as he implemented the plan. Drones, energy projectors, and adaptive weapons struck simultaneously from multiple directions. Enemy cruisers were disabled, fighters destroyed, and communication lines jammed. The alien commanders could not adjust quickly enough. By the end of the first day, the alien fleet had suffered significant losses. Hundreds of ships were disabled, drifting helplessly in space. Marcus allowed the Titanus to cloak, disappearing into the starfield to reassess. During the night cycle, Marcus studied the battlefield. He realized the alien fleet's strength lay in coordination and numbers, but not in creativity. Humans could think differently, adapt quickly, and exploit mistakes in ways no alien could anticipate. The Titanus amplified these strengths, responding to Marcus's instincts and ideas with unmatched precision. Over the next several days, the alien fleet regrouped, but Marcus was ready. He launched controlled strikes, disabling cruisers, and scatter the remaining fighters. Each maneuver relied on his understanding of the Titanus and his ability to improvise under pressure. The aliens began to recognize something they had never seen before: a human mind commanding a ship that could outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast them. In the middle of the conflict, Marcus discovered something extraordinary. The Titanus could create temporary wormholes, allowing him to reposition the ship instantly across the battlefield. Using this, he struck enemy supply lines and reinforcements before they could respond. The alien commanders were caught off guard, unable to predict the Titanus's movements. "This is more than strategy," Marcus said aloud. "This is creativity." The alien fleet, desperate to stop him, attempted a final, coordinated assault. Thousands of vessels converged, energy weapons aimed at the Titanus. Marcus focused. Every system was online, every weapon array ready, every shield pulsing at maximum strength. He activated the Titanus's adaptive energy matrix, creating a network of fields that absorbed, reflected, and redirected attacks. Then he executed a daring move. Using the wormhole system, he appeared behind the enemy fleet, striking their central command ship. The explosion disabled key systems across the armada. Chaos spread. Ships collided, energy beams misfired, and formations collapsed. The alien commanders had underestimated the combination of human ingenuity and the Titanus's capabilities. By the end of the battle, the alien fleet was in full retreat. Hundreds of ships were destroyed or disabled, and the survivors fled in confusion and fear. Marcus allowed the Titanus to cloak once more, vanishing into deep space as the stars stretched endlessly before him. The victory was complete. But Marcus knew it was not just the power of the Titanus that had won the day. It was human creativity, intelligence, and adaptability. He had outthought a civilization far more advanced in technology, proving that humans were not weak or primitive. They were capable of feats no other species could match. As the dust settled across the galaxy, messages began to arrive. Across multiple star systems, civilizations that had never respected humans before now sent greetings, requests for alliances, and offers of trade. The galaxy had seen what Marcus and the Titanus could do. Humanity had announced its arrival. Marcus explored the Titanus in the aftermath, discovering new abilities every day. The ship's systems responded to his intuition, adapting and improving in ways that no manual could explain. He realized that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown civilizations, hidden dangers, and ancient technologies. Yet, with the Titanus and his human ingenuity, Marcus could face anything. One evening, standing on the command deck, he looked out at a distant nebula glowing softly in the void. He thought of the battles fought, the fleets defeated, and the intelligence of the Titanus itself. A feeling of pride and purpose filled him. Humans had always survived against impossible odds, using their minds and courage. Now, Marcus had proven that humans could master technology far beyond their years, reshape strategy, and stand as equals among the stars. Titanus, Marcus said softly, placing his hands on the console. We've done it. We've shown them who we are. The ship pulsed warmly in response, almost as if agreeing. Marcus smiled. He knew that together, they could face any challenge, explore unknown systems, and protect humanity across the galaxy. The Titanus was not just a warship, it was a symbol of human potential, a testament to courage, intelligence, and adaptability. In the following months, Marcus continued to explore the galaxy. He charted new star systems, forged alliances with civilizations that had once dismissed humans, and uncovered technologies that had been lost for centuries. The Titanus adapted and grew alongside him, becoming an even more formidable force. News of the Titanus and its human captain spread. Across star systems, humans were no longer underestimated. Traders, scientists, and explorers looked to humanity with respect. Military strategists reconsidered their tactics, realizing that human creativity could overcome even the most advanced technology. Marcus understood that this was the beginning of a new era. Humans had always been underestimated in the galaxy, but now they were recognized as a species capable of mastering the most advanced technologies and surviving impossible odds. The Titanus was a symbol, a partner, and a proof of what humans could achieve when intelligence, courage, and ingenuity combined. One night, as Marcus stood alone on the bridge, he reflected on the journey. From a lone engineer on a small freighter to the captain of the galaxy's most powerful warship, he had proven something important. Humanity was not limited by technology, size, or strength. Humans were defined by creativity, adaptability, and the willingness to face the unknown. He turned to the Titanus, feeling a deep connection. "Let's keep going," Marcus said. "There's still so much out there to discover." The ship pulsed, a living heartbeat in the vastness of space. Together, Marcus and the Titanus would continue to explore, defend, and expand humanity's place in the galaxy. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of challenges, mysteries, and adventures. And humanity, once underestimated, would face them all brilliant, daring, and unstoppable. For the first time in the galaxy's history, humans were not just participants, they were ascendants. And Marcus Hale, captain of the Titanus, had proven that with courage, creativity, and ingenuity, humanity could conquer the impossible. The galaxy had changed forever.